All right, everybody, welcome into the Pillow Talk edition of today's Pugs and Company show. Hold on, let me straighten this up. Okay. Had a little bit of an issue there for a second. The camera was acting a little bit strange, but I figured it out. I figured out what it must have been. So we've got that fixed now. We do this Pillow Talk edition every Sunday through Thursday. See, when you're thoughtless, those are the kinds of things that happen. We do this 10 o'clock show, 10 p.m. Central Time, every Sunday evening through Thursday evening. We call it the Pillow Talk edition. It's a little bit light, a little bit fast, a little bit silly. We don't really get all that serious, although sometimes we have been known to. You'll just have to play it by ear. We also do a high noon show that comes up at noon every day. That's Central Standard Time, Monday through Friday. That's a noon show. That's trending topics, all kinds of things. Whatever people are talking about, we do on the noon show. As I said, this one, Pillow Talk, a little bit more freeform, a little bit more conversational, if you will. We always... hold on. I'm a little behind the curve. I'm not set up properly. I was doing something, and now here I am. Programming note about this show, the Pillow Talk show. So starting on next Monday, we are going to be doing the Pillow Talk show from 9 p.m. Central Standard Time until 11 p.m. Central Standard Time. That, opposed to how we're doing it now, right now, 10 p.m. Central Standard Time to midnight. I don't know why. I just want to mix it up a little bit. Hey, let's bring in the boys. What do you say? This is all work.
He never agrees with me.
I was like, man, there's a lot of noise going on over there.
And then he always is like, back of
I can hear him.
And I'm like, I'm going to the back of the line. Calm down.
Dude, can you go to the other room?
Yeah, Dom is ranting. He's going to the back of the line. Oh, and we hear Mom. What? We hear Wendy and her private conversations.
You need to go in the room. Go in the other room.
Get out, boy. Hey,
I can hear you. Yeah.
Send the boy over here to fetch his dog. Get the dog back over there. The dog has definitely a leg problem, and I put her up on the bed because I felt bad for her. I had to carry her. I put her, I tucked her up there, and she's on pillows and stuff. I don't know. Maybe Daddy needs to look at her. She might just be playing it up. Sometimes she seems fine, but then when I was eating meatballs, I made spaghetti for dinner. She started limping, like she knew, like she was playing the sympathy card. Dogs do that. I mean, I've experienced dogs do that before. Hi, James. How are you tonight?
I'm doing well. Does everything sound okay?
Yeah, everything sounds fine. I should be asking that exact. So that's just going to be the way. Here, we'll close Abel down because those are private conversations between. Also, folks, end of the month, as we always like to say, you can support the show with a tip right there. It really helps us continue doing this show. Well, it helps me continue doing the show because I'm the only one that doesn't have a job. I got to go out and seriously get a job. I'm living off the goodwill of you people. So all the Venmos, the PayPals, the Pugs Cast on Cash App, all of that is right there. But look, you don't have to. This is just for the people that want to. The important way for you to support the show, the most important way is for you to share the show, like the show. Liking the show is wonderful. A lot of people, when I put out the, hey, join us today, they hit like, but they don't hit share. Hit share. I mean, I love that you like that, but share it. And also, if you're one of the fine folks who are joining us on YouTube, James, this is something that all the YouTubers like to say. Hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. My son keeps telling me that. My son's like, you got to tell people to hit that subscribe button. And I'm like, all right, we can do that. Did you know that's an important thing?
Yeah, they say it in like every.
They hammer it. We're the only YouTube video that doesn't hammer. Hit the like and subscribe. Hit the like and subscribe.
Well, we're just more than YouTube, though. I mean, we're on Facebook right now. Yeah. We're on Twitter. We're on my YouTube. We're on my Facebook. We're on my Twitch.
Did we get off our Facebook ban?
There's no ban.
I thought we got banned for like a night.
Oh, one episode, guys.
Yeah, we had a 1-day ban.
That's yeah, we're fine. I am totally frazzled, man. I have been watching football. I have been watching basketball. I have been nursing a dog that is milking it.
Oh, I forgot. How'd the Packer game end?
It's
I
not
don't know.
ended.
Yeah, it's not over yet. Typically,
Fourth
we'll wait.
quarter, 7 minutes, 40 seconds left. Packers are up 24-21
How dare
it's
you,
close?
sir?
with the ball,
Oh,
second and
excuse
6.
me.
How dare you, sir? It's the Cardinal game. It's not the Packer game. Don't give them bums any respect.
Right. All right,
Cardinal game.
I got you.
I have Cardinal genetics in me. I have been a silent Cardinal fan for a lot of years, except when they were in St. Louis. That was just
Because of the fleeting association with Chicago.
fleeting. How do you mean fleeting?
I just meant that to just dig in your wound there.
No, you do realize they were in Chicago longer than they've been anywhere else, and they've got years to go before they can even touch how long.
I think
they
they
were
are.
in Chicago.
I think they are literally the oldest, right? Aren't they the first franchise?
Well, James, I can tell you that story. Of
Right, but
course.
they're franchise number one. Like
There's two.
when like
Yeah.
2.
Well, there are 2 teams left in the NFL today that were charter members in the car dealership in where is it? Akron? Where's
Dayton,
No. It's wherever the Football Hall of Fame is.
Canton.
Canton. That's it. So maybe that's outside Dayton. Do you know anything about Ohio? What's the biggest city closest to the Football Hall of Fame? Is it
I
Dayton
don't know.
or Akron?
Well,
Whatever.
Ohio's one of those freaky states that sneaks up on you because they have huge metropolitan areas and it's not that big of a state. They have Cincinnati, they have Columbus, which is actually the biggest city in the state. It's over 1 million people, just Columbus itself. Yeah. And they don't even have crap there. They have like a soccer team. They don't have a basketball team, baseball team, football team.
They've got the U. That's the biggest football team. That's the biggest football team in the state of Ohio.
It's just the biggest city in Ohio, but the teams
they got Cincinnati.
Gravitate toward Cleveland and Cincy.
All right.
And
do you
then
want the story or not? Do you want the story or not? Okay, so I believe they were invited to this car dealership by the group or the dude group. They didn't have ownership groups back then. It was one dude with $200 in his pocket. By the Canton Bulldogs. You remember the Canton Bulldogs? Okay,
rings a bell.
So they were like one of the original teams too, but they're no longer around. So these all these teams that played locally were invited to this car dealership, and they said, "Let's form a league. Let's form this." Well, actually, it's George House's idea. So let's form a league. So they all got together at this car dealership, and they all signed the initial charter for the NFL. What we would call today the NFL. It was a little bit different.
AFLPA or something, right?
Yeah. And George Halas's lawyer, he unfurled the paper and they did this whole ceremonial thing. And George Halas took the pen and he handed it over to his crosstown rival, the owner of the Chicago Cardinals. He was the owner of the Chicago Bears. They hated each other. And as a show of goodwill, he said, I will give this pen to you and you can sign first. So that's why the Cardinals are the oldest team in the NFL. They're the oldest team in the NFL by a good 5 seconds, however long it takes.
I think you told this story before. Okay,
yeah, it's a great story. Yeah. And you know, this is not me just bragging on the Chicago Bears because they're my team now. No, it's not. I am genetically a Chicago Cardinals fan. The Chicago Cardinals were the South Side team. The Bears were the North Side team.
Like the Cubs, White Sox dichotomy.
Yeah, my dad and my grandpa, the man who didn't get an opportunity to raise me and the man who did get an opportunity to raise me, were diehard Chicago Cardinal fans, and they were my dad was heartbroken, apparently, according to those stories, when they moved to St. Louis in 1960. But they were in Chicago for 40 years. They were in St. Louis for 28, and they moved to Arizona in 89, I think. So 32 years. 32 years.
39?
Isn't that crazy that they've been in Arizona longer than St. Louis? For old guys like me and E, that doesn't seem possible, right? It seems like.
Well, I'm going to grant you a pass this year then to root for the Arizona Cardinals.
I always do quietly.
Yeah, but I mean, you can root loudly because your other team just is awful.
No, because they haven't been in Chicago in 60 years.
Yeah, but I mean, he's got a quarterback already who's a bust. I mean, he's got a team that's out. Like, you know,
Yeah, we're not going to put up with that. That's we're not going with that kind
That
of.
he doing hard to paint on you there, didn't he?
Well, I don't need.
Wow.
I don't need
Okay.
that. I'm the negativity. I am in a fantastic mood. I do not need the negativity. And let me state flatly here: the Chicago Bears are my team. In my life growing up, there were no Chicago Cardinals. I do, however, hold a place in my heart for my grandpa and for my dad, who were
Right.
raised diehard Cardinal fans. So
And that's legit, but you cannot say it's in your genetics if you haven't even been alive. Like your lifetime doesn't even overlap with their touch with Chicago.
you can behave yourself. Sunglasses.
What? I was just trying to figure out, like, I mean, Justin Field has 1 touch.
Oh my God! Oh man!
We're not going to get
Whoa!
into that stuff. I
He knows
don't want.
exactly where your soft spot is,
Yeah,
doesn't he?
yeah. I just don't.
Woo!
I just don't want to get into that.
I feel bad on your behalf. That was so
I
bad.
mean, we can talk about what a trash heap his favorite sport is, NHL hockey, a sport that nobody likes, and now embarrassing itself from coast to coast. But I
Oh, yeah.
won't. I won't do that because I don't want to get into negativity.
You rape one player, and all of a sudden,
No, we got big breaking news here tonight. E, you want to give the big breaking NHL news that's trending #1 across all platforms at the moment?
I know.
Florida Panthers coach, former Chicago Blackhawks coach, has resigned.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Jo-
first hearing. Do
I
tell.
I speculated the other night. I said, is this going to go so deep that it's going to start affecting the people who were involved in the situation 10 years ago?
You did say that, and so is that what this is?
Yeah, and I didn't think it would happen, but he said, yeah,
Oh,
probably.
oh,
I mean, he knows the league better than I do. I was like, no
oh.
way. Coach Q, Joe Quenneville is one of the top coaches in the NHL. This would be like, given an NFL
Well, I mean, he would
to
be
Quenneville.
A Gruden.
a Gruden.
No, better than a Gruden, right? He's got
Well,
4 cups. He's
yeah,
got
I
3 with
mean,
the
Oh,
Hawks. And, yeah, so
yeah, I mean, I guess, I mean, I wouldn't go as far as Belichick. I don't think like he's had kind of a stranglehold,
yeah,
but for
no,
a
and
while he did. I mean,
um,
he's definitely one of the better coaches in the NHL.
is he like? Well, I mean, just championship for championship. He's like a Bill Walsh. Bill
Yeah.
Walsh has 4. It's I don't know if a Super Bowl is harder to win than a Stanley Cup. I don't know, but he's a.
Bill Walsh has 3. George Seifert got that last one with
Oh, you know what?
Montana.
You're right. You're right. You're right. How many does Jimmy Johnson have? Because we
3.
give one to Switzer, right?
Oh yeah,
Right.
that's fair point too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but this is like I was shocked by this when I saw this come across the Twitter. I looked over and it's a Coach Q,
What is this guy's name again?
Joe Quenneville,
Man, why is that not ringing a bell?
because nobody likes hockey. That's
Well,
why
that's a good point. Good, solid point.
nobody knows hockey. I could be talking about the top coach in the MLS. Nobody even knows what the MLS is. I don't even know that the MLS is still the soccer league in this country. Maybe they changed their name. I don't know. But it is big news in hockey, and I kid hockey. Hockey is a sport. I'll say that. I'll go that far. Ed, why don't you jump in here? I want Ed to jump in because I want to talk about this whole breakdown on this hockey thing because I don't know dick about hockey.
The Stanley Cup is the hardest professional championship to win. Shut up. Like
It's a hockey nerd. Why? Why
that's
is
it.
this?
That's the hardest one. That's the
Why is it the hardest? Why do you agree with Ed that it's the hardest?
Well, I think it's 81 games or
I know.
82 games. It's played at a level of physicality that I don't think any other sport is played at for that many games.
holding yourself.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, what game is there as
Basketball.
much hitting? No, as much hitting and physicality as hockey for
Okay.
the entire season.
Right. I mean, what do they play? 2 hockey games a week? 2, 3, maybe sometimes?
Well, but I mean, they play 82 in a year.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so
I mean, basketball's not that physical. Baseball's not that physical.
Baseball's not. Baseball's trash.
I mean,
But
in
Edward's over here
football, they're
saying,
done
look,
in 17.
he's making the argument that the Stanley Cup is the hardest professional championship to win because you need to win 4 7-game series to win the cup.
Well, that on top of how many injuries do you have throughout the year? How tired do you get? I mean, you've got a whole bunch of gear on. You're skating. you're on a surface that's different than just normal running.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I mean the
Ridiculous. It's absurd.
Let's
really
play
is.
on a sheet of ice.
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, there's just there's a lot of things about it that make it much more difficult than just any other sport.
I'm gonna invent a sport where it's kind of like indoor soccer, but we're just gonna pour Crisco on the floor, just like smear it on there so everyone can look around.
Hey,
I mean, imagine having to hit your way around the baseball field with a bat. Like if part of the sport was you were just constantly having to put the ball in areas that you could hit it to. You got guys that can't even hit to the opposite field nowadays with the damn shift.
it's because they say the hardest thing to do in all of professional sports is hit a baseball.
Yeah,
That is supposedly the hardest thing to do.
yeah, fair enough. I mean, I would say a hole in one is probably the hardest thing to do. But
again, golf not a sport, James. What are you doing? You yourself know that golf isn't a sport.
oh, so
Here
everyone
you are using it
my rules
conveniently.
now because I agree with you. I just didn't know everyone had adopted mine.
Well, I'm with you. Golf ain't a sport. Golf is just
Okay, so what about Edward's point that you need to win 4 7-game series to win the cup? Does that really make it the hardest professional championship to win? Because I would submit that it makes it kind of easier because you can't be knocked out by some sort of fluky game by some upstart underdog who just overperforms while you're laying an egg.
Well, and therein is part of the hardness of it. So you're not going to
Hardness?
get beat by, well, I mean, a fluke team is not going to beat you and get hot.
Thank you. So that makes it less hard, right?
I don't see it that way.
Well,
But-
so then it's mathematically indifferent.
Well, now we're. I mean, let's put it this way. I agree with you. Statistically, the better team should win in a 7-game series. But in order to be the better team for the duration of 82 games, it requires a lot more than it does to be the better team for the duration of 17 or for the duration of 160 without the physicality. There shouldn't be as many injuries.
And I would submit that maybe if it wasn't so difficult for your team to win a championship, that hockey might be more popular. Oh, it's time. Welcome to the Penthouse Guest House, located high atop the One Percenter compound. Every night we like to bring in the comedy stylings of a national treasure. He is the one, the only James Fitzgibbons Parker.
Thank you. Oh my God, you're so nice. What a nice crowd. All right. Hey,
Hold on. See, this is where it gets screwed up. I got like 35 seconds left of this theme, and you just jump in. It never sounds right.
No, I'm just going to talk over it, and you're going to turn it down.
Please, man, come on. You're asking me to do too much. You're asking me to just. Yeah, I agree with you, crowd. Get to the funny, joke man. Get to the funny.
So, police are warning that drug dealers are distributing crystal meth candy this Halloween. The police are saying it's popular with trick or tweakers.
Oh, yeah. That's a drug reference. They love the edgy comedy here at the Penthouse Guest House, high atop the One Percenter compound.
I feel like that was charity, but okay. Costumers say creepy clowns are always popular on Halloween, but this year's no exception. In fact, they are absolutely completely sold out of Andrew Cuomo masks.
Okay.
He's a creepy clown. He's going to get charged for like grabbing a boob or something. Didn't you hear that today?
Who?
Cuomo's going to get charged.
They're going to
for grabbing
file
a
charges.
How great is that? Yeah, I know.
So weird. All right. Here's an idea for a do-it-yourself Halloween costume coming up this weekend. What you can do is you can get some fake blood and you can smear it on your hands, and then you can go as Alec Baldwin.
Oh, yeah. All right.
It's
topical.
I was worried it was too soon, but apparently
they like the topical. They like the topical.
The studio audience is absolutely heartless. Got it. All right. Halloween, also known as All Hallows Eve, and I don't know, is it just me? All Hallows Eve sounds like a witch hygiene product.
Yeah.
Like witch feminine hygiene product. All Hallows Eve.
Yeah,
It
you need
was,
to send me a crickets sound effect.
Falls Eve.
Oh, I got crickets. I'll send you crickets.
That was definitely crickets. I don't know. Yeah.
Falls Eve versus Summer's Eve.
Mhm.
Thanks, Emil. You saved the joke. It's estimated that Americans are going to consume 90 million pounds of Halloween candy this year, or it might be even more if Pug's mom gets off her diet.
No. See, we're not going to cotton to the anti-mom humor. This room is
Wow.
very
Guess what I'm doing tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. Hey, all right. They can't all be winners, Pugs. It's not all going to feel good. On the night before Halloween in 1938, so this weekend will be the anniversary, the radio play The War of the Worlds was broadcast. So it set off a national panic because listeners feared that America was being invaded by alien caravans.
Yeah, they
Isn't that Orson Welles?
That is Orson Welles. He was warning about the alien caravans. It was a big hit in 1938.
I love that play. I love that radio broadcast. I listened to that recently with my son, and guess what? My son loved it. We listened to it late at night while we were laying in bed, and I I actually fell asleep like 15 minutes into it. And I woke up like a half hour later, and he was still just laying there glued to it. And I'm like, "You still listen to this, bud?" And he's like, "Yeah, this is really good." I go, "It is, isn't it?" Yeah.
We should make a 2021 like reboot of it.
I have so wanted to do that for so many years. We used
Is
to do
it-
that. Remember, we used to have we used to do the plays. We used to do Christmas plays where we did, I think Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer one year, and we did A Year Without a Santa Claus. I've always wanted to do the War of the Worlds.
Is it not ageless?
No, well, I mean, look, it's been remade every decade as
And
a Hollywood
finally-
movie. Well, we're talking here. We are talking here.
Is this a monologue or is this a conversational segment? Because I was under the impression this was the monologue.
All right, whatever. There you go.
All right. And finally, this weekend, happy birthday to Grace Slick. I don't want to say she's getting old, but her new band is called Jefferson Mobility Scooter.
Oh, they like the old people humor. That's going to be it. James Fitzgibbons Parker on a Thursday night here at the Penthouse.
Now, why Fitzgibbons?
Of the 1%er. What?
Why
I don't know. I'm just making up names as
okay. I thought that was maybe a reference to Nikki Fitzsimmons, who was on the show back in the day, and she was third place in the first season of American Idol.
Okay, that's Nikki McKibben, not Nikki Fitzsimmons, and I was calling you James Fitzgibbons. So you are all kinds of wrong on that one. You are just all over the place.
I get partial credit. I was really close.
She's dead.
Who? Nikki McKibben's dead?
Nikki McKibben is dead. Yeah.
Shut up! What happened to her?
Well, I mean, you remember her, right? I mean, yeah, I don't know. Here, let's. I remember it happening. Hold on.
So her name is Nikki McKibben.
Yeah, hold on. I got it right here.
Nikki McKibben. Oh, she had an aneurysm.
Nikki McKibben.
She died at 42. Are we that close?
Yeah.
According to Wikipedia, Catherine Nicole McKibben was an American rock music singer-songwriter who finished third in the debut season of the reality television.
Do you know, I really liked Nikki. And she was a big fan of the show. She used to call in and she'd come out to dodgeball and stuff and hang out with us. And then
why didn't she come out more though? Like we kept offering her like, hey, you want to do bits and stuff? And she would say yes, but never follow up.
Dude. Well, she filled in for Sybil a bunch of times, right? When Sybil was out on vacation or something. I remember doing news. Man.
Sorry, that's me looking up Nikki McKibben stuff.
Okay. She was tortured, man. That girl, there were real problems there. That was not a mentally healthy young lady. A lot of drugs. I mean, I saw her do some hardcore drugs. I mean,
you saw her do it.
Yeah, I mean, we hung out and stuff. We went out and we hung out on weekends and stuff. Not all the time. No,
do?
no. Well, I thought that
I
was
saw her at like dodgeball a couple times,
Yeah.
and she would like show up like that event we did, the Lizard Lounge, or she would come to a couple things here and there.
She
But
would come to the improv from time to time and sit with us, and she was really nice, and I really liked her, but I felt so bad for her because there was obviously,
no, the vibe.
she seemed to be heavily addicted to a number of substances.
No, look, the vibe you're getting. I'll be the bad guy and say it. She looked like she was, or she acted like she was the victim of some abuse, like in childhood.
I don't know. That's not what I was getting at. I was talking about her drug issues. I wasn't
Okay.
talking
All
about
right, but where does that come from? What is that based in? Why?
Well,
Why
that
do
comes
you?
from a lot of things. Not everybody who's a drug addict
Well,
has
not everybody, but that I'm just saying that
She
that's the
was
feeling I had.
she was so beautiful too, you know? I mean, she was really pretty, and then the last time I saw her, it was like, "Ooh, boy, this is what drugs do to people. This is how they end up looking sunken and gaunt and gray."
Oh man, that is a really bad description of her.
Well, it's true. It was sad, and, but her death here, let me see. Let me see what it says about her death. Was it born in Grand Prairie, Texas? That's our girl. On October
Aneurysm
31st.
at 42. Did I get that part right?
I guess, I don't know. On October 31st, 2020. It's gonna be 1 year in just a couple of
It,
days here.
no. It was 1 year, 28 days ago.
October 31st. She died on Halloween of
Oh, I thought
2020.
you said first.
No,
My
no,
bad.
no.
I heard October
Oh, okay,
1st.
I see what you're saying. On October 31st, 2020, McKibben was taken off life support after suffering from a brain aneurysm on October 28th. It was
Oh,
1
this
year
is
ago.
today.
Oh, no. Well, then you know what? It's good that we're talking about her. This is a tribute to Nikki. This is good.
Oh man.
Uh, yeah. She is the fourth American Idol finalist to die after Michael Johns in 2014, Ricky Smith in 2016, and Leah LaBelle in 2018.
Wow.
Let's keep
That
going.
is a big fat wow.
Personal life. McKibben was born in Grand Prairie, Texas. She was married to Craig Sadler. She had a son, Tristan Cole Langley, born in 1997 from a previous relationship. Her husband, Craig, appeared with her on Celebrity Rehab with Dr. Drew.
Oh my God. She was a contestant on Celebrity Rehab.
McKibben marked a year of sobriety on June 10th, 2018.
Oh God.
Or no, June 10th, 2009.
June 10th, 2009. Yes, that would have been right about when we were at the AM station.
Let me look at my face. No, because I knew her after 2009. And this is Wikipedia. And maybe that's the public story that they were going with. No, I'll just say this. I do not believe that when I knew her past 2009 and 2010 or whatever, that she was, I do not believe she was still sober is, I guess, what I'll.
Well, you would have been 2010. You would have been married then still and here.
Yeah, she's still, maybe you're right though. Maybe you're right. Maybe I'm just mixing it up. Maybe it would have been before then.
Yeah.
Because maybe I don't know that I would have still been running into her. Other than we're friends on Facebook and stuff, that would probably be the only contact I would have had her. Yeah, you're probably right now that I think about it. So I shouldn't be so certain in my belief that her being sober for a year was a lie. But do you remember she bit somebody? I think it was Eric. She bit Eric really bad. We were all out at a bar somewhere, and she bit his nipple like really hard. She said, "I'm gonna bite your nipple," and Eric's like, "No, you're not." And she did real hard.
I do not remember that. Hey, I just emailed you a picture of me and Nikki McKibben from the year 2003.
Let's see this picture. Let's do our tribute to the beautiful, the lovely, and the very talented Nikki McKibben. Oh, look at you two. Oh, here, we'll share that with everybody.
All right.
I don't have any-
2003, so that's 18 years ago.
Yeah.
On the Pugs and Kelly show.
There
in
she is.
studio. Look, got the logo over the shoulder, just like I'm supposed to.
Look at you. Look at how young you look.
I know.
Oh, she was a doll. She was a doll. That's really look at you. You're bringing me down. I was in a good mood, and now you got me all sad thinking about Nikki, thinking about that sweet girl.
Dang.
Good kid. Good kid, that Nikki McKibben. Wonder what she's up to these days. Yeah.
I know, right? I'm tired when that happens and it's a bad answer.
How strange is that, though? 1 year ago today is when she suffered her brain aneurysm. How do we get out of this? Because now, now
How about your moment of joy or your moment of zen or whatever?
Hey, that's pretty good. That's a wonderful way to get out of this. All
Watch
right,
a puppy lick a baby or something.
let's do our little moment of joy here. This is a cute one.
Will pick his nose.
I have to be honest with you. I struggled mightily trying to find a moment of joy for
Wait, what's going on behind you there? Hang on. Look at the gesturing.
Where?
Back
Behind
there.
me?
No, Amel. There's nothing behind you.
He's got Dom duty.
He's watching the game.
Look at him. What are you doing? What do you mean? He's doing like that Italian thing where he talks with his hands.
He's a little boy. He's a little boy.
Hey, what are you doing? What do you mean? Hey, how you
He
missing
just-
that shot? It's just a layup. What are you doing?
All right, here you go, folks. Here's going to be your moment of joy today. When I make my list of my favorite animals, I have to make an adjustment because my list was dogs, dolphins, and well, I don't know, but we got to get rid of dolphins.
I thought you had pigs in there.
Yeah, pigs and cows, dogs, dolphins. Was it donkeys?
I think it was like an ocelot or something.
I like donkeys. No, it was 3Ds. It was whatever. Doesn't matter. The dolphin has to go. The dolphin, I know that it's a mammal, but the dolphin will now be categorized in my 5 favorite fishes, and it will be number 1.
It feels like we're supposed to be eating dolphins. They look like food.
Oh, they can talk to us. They're the most intelligent. Shut up, James. Stop bad-mouthing dolphins. They're my favorite fish, don't you know? Even though I know they're not fish. So I'm going to replace the dolphin with raccoons. I always forget how much I love raccoons until I see a raccoon. These little trash bandits. I love them. Do you have, do we have raccoons in Texas? Do we have them?
Oh my God. Yes, we have raccoons in Texas.
Christ.
Well, I would think that this neighborhood with all these trees, I would see raccoons. I never see raccoons.
You're in Dallas. You're in Highland Park. There is not a set of woods for like 30 miles in any direction.
But there's raccoons here.
Well, then I look forward to seeing my first Highland Park raccoon. And James, your theory there doesn't hold up because downtown Chicago is infested with raccoons.
And we have wolves here as well.
Wolves?
Coyotes.
Same thing. There's a difference. Close genetically, but yeah, there's a difference. All right, look at what this little trash bandit's getting into. Look at this guy. Someone's at the beach and they left their stuff. Look at this little guy. Goes into the bag. Oh, he's got some chips. Oh, and he dropped the chips. Look at him. He's just going to stop. He's not afraid of people. He's going to eat. He knows the dude's coming, so he's going to take as many chips as he can. Not running away.
Wow.
Look at him. Look at how cute they are. All right, there you go. Like I said, I struggled mightily today with the moment of joy because
that's a good one, but don't get all Disney on us here because raccoons will mess you up. I had a friend Matt who would get what we call whiskey drunk.
Mm-hmm.
And this one time he caught a raccoon digging in the trash. So he was going to go. He's like, I'm going to go beat him up. So he goes over to punch the raccoon, but the raccoon jumps on him like an Adam Sandler movie and claws him up and tears his shirt. And he was bleeding all over the place. And
okay, let me point some out to you. That's one of the reasons I like raccoons because they hate assholes. Your friend sounds like an asshole. Got drunk and want to go beat up a raccoon. If that raccoon had just taken it, I'd have no respect for it. Raccoons will fight your ass if you're aggressive, but if you're cool, you can feed them out of your hand.
Look,
give them stuff and they'll take it out of your hand and sit there and eat it with you. Raccoons are cool.
Matt's a good guy, except for 2 things. One is when he gets whiskey drunk. Like when he gets whiskey drunk, he can go.
He fights animals.
Huh?
He likes to fight animals when he gets
kind of. In my apartment complex in Addison.
That's a problem.
We convinced him to go try that he couldn't catch one of the ducks that was going through the creek that was flowing through my apartment complex, and there was like a bridge and there was a duck crossing sign. It was so cute, but there's ducks that really lived there. And he really spent an hour when he was whiskey drunk trying to catch a duck, and he never did. The other thing he would do is he was one of those guys that had road rage stories where, hey, why you late to work today, Matt? he's like, "Oh my god, this dude like cut me off," and so I cut him off. Then he cut me off, and then we pulled over to the gas station. And we got a fight.
I
You did
gotta be
what?
honest, you're winning me over with Matt. I don't
I
like
know.
that he fought a raccoon because that's against God's law. But I'm liking the rest that I'm hearing about him. If he went after ducks, I'm good with that because ducks and geese both suck.
Yeah, well, Matt's a complex, nuanced person who is not 100% evil, but not 100% good. Just like all of us, it's on a sliding scale.
I think I'm 100% good. I don't think there's any evil in me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really. Yeah, really.
2 divorces, huh? You're perfect.
Doesn't make you evil.
What? No, it doesn't make you evil, but come on, 100% good.
Yeah.
No flaws. No flaws.
Of course there are flaws, but flaws don't determine whether you're good or evil. I mean, if I was a Dungeon and Dragon character, I would be what would I be? I would be not chaotic good, not I'd be good. I'd be all good. My character would be all good. Good people make mistakes all the time. That's
I'm
not
sure Emil has a strong opinion on what his Dungeons and Dragon character would be.
No, I'll tell you something. Well, maybe I ought to let him slam me first before I say this, but I would describe him as all good too. I don't think there's any evil in.
Oh, nobody's all good.
No, well, of course. Well, if the other choice is evil, of course there is. Do you believe you have evil in you? I don't believe I have evil in me.
I don't always return the shopping cart to the corral. Okay.
That wouldn't make you evil.
Well,
Evil would mean that you at times actively participate in anti-humanistic behavior where you're evil. I mean, the definition of evil is a pretty strong definition. So if you're saying that you can either be good or evil, I would argue that I don't have any evil in me.
Boy, that's pretty naive.
No, fuck you! I'm naive. How dare you? Really? That's not naive. Tell me what's evil. I mean, you must have a bizarre
evil. Let's see. Evil.
Like if The Walking Dead happened, I would be Daryl. You would be dead.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I'd walk into I don't want to live in some post-apocalyptic zombie land. Take me out early. Let me be in the first wave. As a matter of fact, I might happily be a zombie for a while. Let me try that because this way of life sure as hell ain't working out for me. Maybe that will have me be a little bit happier.
Man, it's pretty cool. Zombies don't have to pay rent, all that good stuff.
They don't know. They don't have any. They're not aware of anything. They just, So back to you. You are working on the whole thing. So tell me, what percentage of you is evil? No, I'm talking to E. I'm talking to sunglasses. Sorry. What percentage of you is evil? What percentage of you do you believe is evil? I don't believe there's any of me that's evil. There's a lot of imperfection.
Yeah, I think maybe evil's probably a little strong. I mean, everybody has their faults, so I guess faults aren't necessarily evil.
No, they're human.
No, faults aren't evil, but Pugs, you already admitted that if Mace had got rolled up in a Brian Laundrie strangulation, that you would help him run from the law. Yeah. So that's at least like 1-2% evil right
that's
there.
That's not evil. I don't think that's evil. I think that's a
at whose expense?
A misguided allegiance and love for your child, but I certainly don't think that.
Well, but it would be evil to the person that Mace had wronged or to their family.
No, I don't think that's evil. It's wrong. It's a shitty thing to do, but that's not evil. Evil is this. Evil is let me figure out a way that I can kill my business partner so I can take his part. Somebody that would contemplate.
That's further on the evil spectrum, but helping your kid get away with the murder is closer to the evil side of the spectrum than the good side of the spectrum.
Jeff Glenn thinks that we all have potential for evil.
Thank you, Jeff. Of course we do. Of course we do.
I don't. We'll just have to.
You've never been hungry. How do you know? How do you know if there's like one piece of food left and it's you and some other person? You're just gonna let them eat it while you die?
Yeah, like if you were put in the Squid Games.
Yeah, I wouldn't because I'm not evil.
No, but I'm saying if you found yourself.
Yeah.
If you found yourself in the Squid Games.
Yeah.
I need a refill, guys. I apologize.
And there was 40 million at stake.
Yeah.
And somebody had to win.
Yeah.
You would be capable of evil.
No, I wouldn't. I would not under any circumstances be able to take another person's life. And that's what you're saying. You are saying, and I think that someone who could intellectually work that through in their mind and come out the other end going, yeah, I could kill a human. I think that is an indication of some evil.
Well, but not necessarily kill them physically with your hands, but if you had to outsmart them, like the episode
That's
where
different. That's different.
well, you're using your mind to essentially accomplish evil.
No. How is that evil? How is outsmarting
All right,
somebody evil?
I don't want to be.
Because you're saying that the end result of my outsmarting them would be their peril, their death, their
Correct.
demise. Oh, well, yeah, I wouldn't participate in that. There would be under no I've thought long and hard about this. I used to say all the time that if I was a governor of a state and somebody was up for death row back when death row was going on, I would stay the execution of everybody when I was governor. Because although I do not subscribe to any particular faith, I do believe that Jesus was a pretty cool guy and that his way of looking at the world is the proper way of looking at the world. And I could not in any situation be responsible for the death of another human being. I wouldn't want to live with myself after that.
All right, I'm going to try not to do a spoiler alert here, so I'm going to have to be vague. Well, but I'm going to have to be vague about Squid Games. So I'm going to have to be vague, but specifically the episode where they partner up with each other, which they think they're going to be playing the game against other teams. And it turns out that you're playing to the death against your partner.
Right.
I think in that episode, evil surfaced in at least 2 instances of the pairings of partners. Probably 3.
Yes.
And so I think when push comes to shove, using what Jeff Glenn has said, we're all capable of evil. I think
that I disagree with, but he did say it. Yes.
I think that's where everyone's potential might be realized.
Well, the flaw in your Squid Game analogy is, as was pointed out multiple times in that show, every single one of those people were there of their own volition. I would not be there. I would not be in that situation.
Well, okay.
I wouldn't accept the invite.
Let's get over the accepting the invite. Say you were captured and they gave you that option as to become uncaptured and gain your freedom. So you didn't choose to be there. Let's just say you happened to be there for unfortunate circumstances.
Yeah.
In those cases where it's you against the other person in survival mode, I think everybody is capable of a little bit even. Well,
would I kill another person,
kill or mislead or confuse.
And I'm telling you, I wouldn't. I am not all that attached to this world and this life to begin with. I have manic depression.
Yeah, but you'd want to see your kid.
Deeply. No, not if it meant killing another person. No, honestly, look, you can either respect this or you can keep fucking arguing with me. But I've been through this a million times with people. I could not. If war came out and there was a draft, I would run to Canada. I would not participate in the murder of another person ever. It's just something that goes completely against my soul. Now, if you want to find another thing that I might be characteristically evil in, fine, but not the murder of another human being. I am completely against that.
Well, let's say
in all cases.
All right. Well,
and I didn't mean to use the
if you and I ever get stuck in a Squid Game scenario and they give you a bag of 20 marbles, I want you to be my partner.
Well, you win. Yeah, there you go. Let's hope that doesn't happen, or let's hope for your sake that it does.
Because then I wouldn't have to be evil. You just give me the marbles.
Because yes, if it was that kind of situation where I had to kill you or perish myself, I'd be like, all right, I've been waiting on this opportunity. Let's go. Let's see what's next. Let's see if it's just the big sleep, or let's see if we can have some fun here for eternity.
Well, if it came to you and me in that situation, I don't know, it would be evil. But if it was like somebody else I didn't know, yeah, I would definitely have some evil.
Yeah, I mean, I just disagree. I think that evil is a very strong word. I think that I am a good person through and through. And that to suggest that I could be capable of any act of evil is, I push back on that. I just don't think I can. I can be bad, but bad isn't evil. You understand? I mean, there's a difference there. Evil means Hitler was evil. Bin Laden was evil. You know, I mean, people who walk into a movie theater and start gunning down strangers, that's evil.
Okay,
That
so
is
while
a
he can't
big word.
defend himself, do you think James would be capable of evil?
100%. I'm not entirely certain that he doesn't have a string of bodies in his wake. When he left Dallas, he like went to Oklahoma and then quickly moved on to Arkansas. Now he's down in Louisiana. Yeah, totally. Look, he's not amoral, but you know what? We should just go through our list of friends who we think could be like that. Because I love James. Don't get me wrong. I've known James since he was a 21-year-old kid. I've seen, but he has always been a dark heart, and you know, he doesn't. He's the kind of person that doesn't really give a shit about hurting people's feelings. You know, I mean, that's just the kind of person that he is. I tell him to his face, and he readily admits that he lacks all empathy, that his wife is the one in the family that has empathy, and that the kids will. He doesn't give a shit about anybody. He is very, very. And again, I say I love him. I say this with love, but it's like the way I used to describe Dick Hunter. Dick Hunter is another dark heart. That is somebody else who, although Dick has empathy for a lot of people, I think that he is a vampire. You know, I think that there is like some stuff going on there that.
Yeah, like okay, Dick is definitely a weird box of cookies.
Yeah, yeah.
A
Christmas sampler,
but the like Dick's integrity is really there.
Yeah.
Like he is not somebody that's gonna run some scam. Like he's not a scammer.
No.
So
no, but I think he has a problem with his love for his fellow man. I think that there is
right,
no,
but I don't see any
love.
evil. Like I just don't. I see a lack of emotion. Like he doesn't really feel.
Yeah, like a sociopath. Exactly. Yes.
Doesn't really
Brilliant.
feel, but I don't see any. I
He's
don't really
funny.
see any evil.
He's brilliant. He's great to hang out with. But yeah, I think that he's got some vampire.
He does exist. He does exist like somebody that is a vampire.
Yeah.
And he'd just be here for hundreds of years and people could die off around him and he would never know.
Yeah,
or
he even
never
dresses
feel
like
it.
a vampire, or at least he used to. You know, I mean, he had that whole sort of not corporate. You would hate me to say. I was going to say corporate goth.
No, there's no corporate in him at all.
No, but
Like,
but corporate goth in the way that like Nickelback kind of looked. You know, he kind of dressed like he could be a member of Nickelback. You know what I mean? I mean, I know he had a very rock and roll sensibility about the way he dressed. All black. You know, his hair was, you know, always cool. And
when the nails were painted, that was kind of odd.
I think he wore eyeliner for a while. You know,
Yeah.
he was just Nickelback. He could have been a Nickelback. If you were a Nickelback and you were doing a photo shoot, they would have you dressed.
That painting he had of himself over the bed, that was kind of a little weird.
It's weird in a great way. That is like, so he had over his sex bed, he just had a giant mural of himself. It was very Tiger King.
If you were ever going to have a mural of yourself, I guess that's where you need to put it if you're a single dude.
All right. So that's enough. Let's get off this evil conversation because we don't need to be.
Well, it's, you know, before Halloween, so I think, you know, we're topic appropriate.
Yeah. Speaking of, we're gonna have to probably unveil a couple of. Oh, wait, we can't do that. It's Thursday. I forgot that it was Thursday.
Oh, and by the way, tomorrow I'm not going to be able to do the show.
Oh, there is no show tomorrow. Oh, during the day.
During the day, yeah, I've got
the day? Okay.
Yeah, I'm attending carpool in costume, and then I have cafeteria duty. The dads are serving lunch at cafeteria, and I've got to be in my costume.
All right, no big deal
for that.
That sounds like fun. You go do that. You go do the.
And then I got pumpkin carving after that, and then I've got football practice, and then I've got the zombie hunt, which we did a year ago. That's really fun, dude.
So what you're telling me is that our possibly faking injured dog is just going to stay here for the next 24 hours.
Yeah, but I've got medication for her.
Leave it
For
out on
when
the
she
counter.
had injured her leg before. I think she just runs around so fast that she sometimes pulls a hammy or something. The equivalent of a dog hammy.
She really does run fast. I mean, she gets moving in the backyard and then
And
makes
she
those
does weird, dumb things.
She's probably got the equivalent of a busted ACL. That's probably what's going on with her back leg. Because she keeps injuring it, and she makes these crazy cuts when she's running, trying to catch the squirrels. I could see something like that happening. Even though she's still a puppy, she's still a young animal. But there's some. She's earlier tonight when I talked to you about it, I was like, and then I kind of presented it like she was faking. But there's something wrong with her.
Well, I took her to the vet last time this happened, and then he gave us the anti-inflammatory medication. We gave her that, and a week, 10 days, she was back to normal. So
I might give her an aspirin, like an ibuprofen. I used to give
no,
her.
I'll come up there. I'll get the pill out of the pantry, and we'll just start giving her half a pill again.
All right. Well, I guess James isn't around. So, all right, let's move into some things that we were talking about. Here, this story broke today. Did you hear about this story? No, you probably didn't because it was just broken today. Another incident on an airplane, but this one sounds really gruesome. And I got to ask, who the hell would do something like this? And what should the punishment be? In American Airlines, a female flight attendant today. Didn't Ed fly American today? But this was.
I believe he did.
This was. What is that about? Why is Ed flying American from Chicago when Southwest Midway to Love is like one of the most enjoyable flight experiences?
Well, because he didn't go to. He went to Huntsville first or Tennessee first.
Yeah, Southwest doesn't make you. Oh, he went there for work first.
Right. And then he came from there to here.
Ask a question, get an answer. A male passenger. I don't even have to read this. So, a young girl stewardess on an American Airlines flight from New York to Los Angeles, New York to Santa Ana. Where is Santa Ana? Is that
California?
Yeah, it's Southern California, right? Because the John Wayne Airport is where it was going. And that's in that Orange County. That's like Orange County's airport. So the flight was going from New York to Santa Ana and at some point over Ohio, so like a third into the flight, the flight attendant bumped into a passenger, just, the way they're always bumping into people because there's turbulence and the aisles are slow, maybe with the cart. I sit on the end. I always get my foot run over by the beverage cart or whatever. She bumped into a passenger, and this guy stood up and started wailing on her, punched her multiple times in the face, broke multiple bones in her face, cheekbone, nose, bloodied her. And the plane had to make this is the strange spot. This happened over Ohio. The plane had to make an emergency landing in Denver. Doesn't that seem like they traveled?
Takes a long time to get down from Ohio to Denver.
If you get punched in the face over Ohio, can't you land in Indianapolis?
Well, I guess maybe they decided it was serious enough that they needed to get her medical attention.
Well,
took a little bit.
Well, they decided. Well, they don't have hospitals in Indianapolis or Lexington or Louisville.
Well, no, I'm saying maybe it took a little while to figure out that she wasn't okay.
Yeah. Well, she was taken to the hospital. Let's see. I was reading some of the.
And when I say okay, meaning like that she required hospitalization.
She required facial surgery, is what some of the comments were saying. A male passenger punched a female American Airlines flight attendant in the face multiple times, breaking multiple bones and forcing the cross-country flight to divert to Denver so she could go to the hospital for treatment. American Airlines Flight 976 from New York to Santa Ana, California was diverted Wednesday due to a passenger who physically assaulted a flight attendant. A spokesman for the Association of Professional Flight Attendants said the flight attendant was punched many times and had multiple broken bones in her face. We are still trying to figure out what happened, said APFA spokesperson Paul Hartstrom. As far as we know, she may have bumped him. There are people in the comments who are claiming to know the situation, but take it for what it's worth. But they're also saying that it was an accidental bumping into the passenger, and apparently it was while he was waiting in line for the bathroom. and she was moving through the cabin and she bumped into him. And this dude reacted by wailing on a woman on an airplane at 30,000 feet.
Wow.
Wow is right. I mean,
I'm
look,
surprised that there wasn't an ass whipping given to him.
that is what I was leading up to. Now we just came through this Philly story where, remember, the false news was reported that a whole bunch of stood around and with their cameras watching a woman be raped on a train, outside Philly, and that was proven not to be true. But I mean, why isn't another part of this story about how this guy also needed medical treatment after having his ass thoroughly kicked by a plane load of men, right? Even women, I don't care. You cannot allow this to happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's no bump. There's nothing possible that the flight attendant could have done in order for that to be justified.
Nothing. Even if they
Nothing.
were former ex-boyfriend and girlfriend.
Right. Zero, zip, zilch.
There's
nothing that registers on that scale.
You know what
I mean, I would say, when I say nothing, I guess there's okay, if she pointed a weapon at you and discharged it,
okay, you're
or threatened to discharge it, then at that point you're attempting to defend yourself, fine.
Yeah.
But once you've got control of the situation, multiple shots to the face, no.
Mackenzie Rose, a passenger on the flight, told CBS Los Angeles that the flight attendant was brutally assaulted about halfway through the trip when the plane was over Ohio. I understand that he actually punched her in the face, Rose said after landing in Santa Ana. I did see her walk back down the aisle afterwards. She had blood splattered all on the outside of her clothing and her mask. Flight 976 was heading Wednesday from John F. Kennedy International Airport to John Wayne Airport in Santa Ana. When it landed, the passenger was removed, handed over to the FBI, because apparently the FBI is who handles these things when they happen in the air, which would make sense. There's no jurisdiction 30,000 feet above the United States. And if there is, I suppose that's the FBI's jurisdiction. There's no indication yet that the incident had anything to do with the requirements to wear masks on board, but you just know it's going to turn out to be something like that. Like he was already pissy because he had to wear a mask. The individual involved in this incident will never be allowed to travel with American Airlines in the future, but we will not be satisfied until he has been prosecuted to the full extent of the law, the airline said. This behavior must stop, and aggressive enforcement and prosecution of the law is the best deterrent. Maybe, but somebody who does something like this, do you have any? Because there is also a part of me that goes, well, this person isn't well. This person, there's something wrong with this person. Unless they're drunk. And then this whole thing leads to no booze on airplanes anymore? I mean, is that what
but if they're drunk, that's no excuse.
Exactly.
I mean,
it's no excuse, but it eliminates the thought that there must be some mental problem. He must have an untreated...
Well, there still is a mental problem. It's just that the mental problem is being aided with alcohol.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to agree with you on that, because I have been shit-faced drunk, and it has never made me want to beat up a woman for bumping into me. That's not a trick.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, you can be drunk without...
I've gotten into fights with other dudes when I'm drunk.
Well, but again, there's still some underlying issue that's attached to that.
Yeah. That is one of the most disgusting things that anybody can do. Look, am I wrong? In 2021, is my belief that no man, regardless of the situation, should ever raise his hand to a woman.
No,
you know what I mean?
Not wrong.
Well, but doesn't that sound like something an old man might say, right? Oh, we women, we can defend our... Like, where do I fall on here? If I tweeted that on Twitter, I bet you I would get a whole bunch of radical feminists telling me...
I don't think you would.
I'd punch you right back. You don't think so?
Well, you might get people that say I'd punch you right back, but
and I would deserve
I don't know. I don't think that they would say you have a right to hit me.
what is James doing? What, you know what? He's just, I know if he's not going to play, then he doesn't get to play. That's all. That's how we're going to handle it from now on. All right. So that was happening. Dallas-based American Airlines putting out that statement that have no fear, this guy will never be allowed on the plane again. This is an interesting one. So we were talking earlier today about, we played the trailer. It was trending all morning. The new trailer for Tiger King 2, which is the sequel. If you were with us during the high noon broadcast, you would have seen that. Looks pretty interesting. It looks like something I'm going to like. But then I started to think, hey, wait a second. Wasn't there supposed to be a Tiger King series where it wasn't a docu-series, where it was actors playing? Didn't we cover that at some point a couple of months ago? The Tiger King. And yeah, I totally forgot about it. Remember we talked about the guy that was cast to play Joe Exotic. John Cameron Mitchell is his name. We did that story on one of the high. Is he back? Okay, we are not going to allow your box to take up precious real estate in our little box. This little thing that goes like this when you're not even there. You show back up, you turn your camera off. What are you doing? You missed the entire American Airlines story.
I think
Well,
that's
now,
entirely fair.
Why is his screen dark?
I think that's entirely fair. Yeah, you don't need to have my box on the screen if I'm not in here.
Okay. All right. Just as long as we're on the same page.
No, but now your box is dark, but your name is there.
It looks fine. Oh, his name. He looks fine.
Oh, who fixed your graphics?
Whose graphics?
What was wrong with them?
Well, there right now you can see James Parker, where before your the James show covered up your J and A.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
That's the little box that Pugs puts up when you have your name in the blue box on the corner.
Here, hold on. Let's see what happens when I make him smaller. All right, and then we'll get rid
No,
of
it's not that. It's, you know how it'll say Pugs in the corner of your box and E the artist in his corner and James Parker in my corner.
Oh,
that's the thing that covers up the J and the A.
Okay.
So, James, how about, do you remember, well, no, you wouldn't have been with us, but during the high noon broadcast, one of the stories that we talked about probably a month or so ago was about how NBC was developing, actually, Kate McKinnon is the one who's developing it. She's the executive producer. Kate McKinnon is developing a series about Joe Exotic, not a docuseries, actual people portraying the characters that we saw in the Tiger King documentary. Kate McKinnon is Carol Baskin in this. She has cast herself in the lead role of Carol Baskin. Does it sound familiar to you at all?
No, but that's adorable.
No. Well, so here, I was thinking about that after we saw the Tiger King 2 trailer. I was like, hey, what about the TV series with the actors playing these people? And I went and I looked back, and it's way more fleshed out than it was a month ago. A month ago, it was only Kate McKinnon and John Cameron Mitchell as Joe Exotic. Joe Exotic is the name of the series, is an upcoming American drama streaming television series starring Kate McKinnon, Dean Winters, John Cameron Mitchell, Brian Van Holt, Sam Keeley, Nat Wolff, William Fichtner. William Fichtner is great. You guys know who William Fichtner is?
No.
Okay. I'm going to put him up and you're going to go, oh, that dude's awesome. He's one of those guys that's in everything. Yeah, we'll pull up some William Fichtner for you. Look at this guy. There it is. There he is. This guy, he's been in absolutely everything. Here. One of my favorite characters. One of my favorite, hey, it's that guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's always here. You'll know him immediately. Boom. William Fichtner.
Oh my God! Yeah, he's in 1,000
yeah.
Jesus Christ! He's in like Go.
He's from Buffalo, New York.
He is. He's a massive Buffalo Bills fan.
Yes.
Yeah. He's a regular on Chicago sports radio station that I listen to, and he's the Buffalo Bills expert.
Whenever he used to live at the Ashton.
No, really?
Yes, he lived at the Ashton during when they were shooting Prison Break.
Oh, really? Okay, very cool. Yeah, because he actually did the old Pugs and Kelly show a couple of times. He was a great guest. That's why I love him so much.
He lived like 2 floors above us.
Yeah, he's a cool, hey, that guy. He's a cool, hey, that guy actor. All right, I'm glad after the build-up that you guys knew who he was. So he's one of the stars of the series. He is going to be playing Rick Kirkham. Do you remember Rick Kirkham? Do you guys know Rick Kirkham was the journalist? Remember that Joe Exotic hired to videotape his?
Oh, okay, yeah. I wouldn't
then-
have known that if you hadn't have said it.
Well,
But yeah.
well, let me tell you about Rick Kirkham. Rick Kirkham was actually he's a Dallas guy. He's a Plano native, or was a Plano native.
All right.
And he fought Danny Bonaducci in a fight at MGM Grand on the undercard of Michael Moore, Larry Holmes.
I think. The hell is going on?
Yeah. Well, our whole radio station in Chicago went out there because Danny Bonaducci got put on this card to fight another celebrity. And at the time, Rick Kirkham was the host of like Inside Edition or something. He was one of those guys, I think hard copy, maybe. No, wait. One was Bill O'Reilly and one was Rick. Anyway, okay. So whatever
Bill
it
O'Reilly was hard copy.
Okay, so it was Inside Edition, and he challenged Danny Bonaducci to a fight, and so they fought on the undercard, and we all went out there to Vegas to watch this. But then Rick Kirkham is a fascinating guy. He lost his job. He was a big-time TV news journalist guy. Well, I mean, hosting that show every day at 3:00 or whenever the hell it came on. And his career went in the toilet. You know why his career went in the toilet?
No idea.
He became a crackhead, like a real hardcore, legitimate crackhead. Where, I mean, this is a guy who made probably, $1 million a year, maybe, hosting as the host and star of Inside Edition, doing news stories and wearing a suit and being all, and then he just turns to crack and he becomes a crazed crackhead. And there is a documentary about Rick Kirkham that you can find on YouTube. Just put Rick Kirkham doc or Rick Kirkham documentary. And I remember seeing it on HBO probably around 2001, 2002. And it was about, he videotaped his spiral into absolute like homelessness, basically. He had this beautiful home in Plano. He had a gorgeous wife, nice house, nice Plano house, beautiful wife and a little baby. And he would put them to bed at night and then start rolling the videotape of him. He would get on his motorcycle and drive down to like, I don't know, the worst parts of Dallas and buy
South Dallas.
Yeah, and buy crack and then start smoking crack. And it was really bad. And all of like the horrible fights with him and his wife, he videotaped them. I mean, it was really powerful documentary filmmaking, and he filmed all of these things. And that was basically him saying, look, this is why I don't have a career anymore, because this is my secret. You see me on the street, I wear a sport coat and I drive a fancy car but here's what I do at night. Whoa! Like he's hanging out with prostitutes, doing crack behind dumpsters. I mean, it was, and not as like, I am a journalist trying this. No, it was, I fucking love crack. It was like that. It was way powerful stuff. And that is why years later he was available to do this freelance thing for Joe Exotic when Joe Exotic wanted his. I mean, this was like the documentary that he was making on Joe Exotic that was captured in the other documentary, Tiger King, the Netflix show that we saw. So William Fichtner is playing him. William Fichtner is playing Rick Kirkham. Let me hold on. Did you Google Rick Kirkham at all and find out his thing?
Yeah. So Rick Kirkham, is the second you see his face with the stupid hat,
you recognize him from Tiger King.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah. But he was the guy that called bullshit very early on. That's why he was like almost the hero of Tiger King early on, who was looking at the camera going, this shit is fucking nuts.
He does also look like a guy that spent a good 20 years pursuing his love of crack.
Yeah.
Born in documentary filmmaking.
Born in 1958, is an American film producer, writer, cinematographer, and journalist who is best known for his documentary TV Junkie. Find that on YouTube. You will be blown away. It is so good. TV Junkie, about how he went from a big time TV guy to a junkie. All right. So that's Fichtner is playing him.
So Rick Kirkham told the Oprah Winfrey Show in 2007 that he would smoke crack at night instead of sleeping, kind of what you were saying.
Yeah.
Remaining high for about 6 hours, and then report for work at Inside Edition 2 hours later. And he said he regularly went days without sleeping during this time.
Wait, there's gotta be. Hold on.
You know how hard it is to like get one of these jobs when you're all sober, and this guy can do it while he's on crack. He's better than me. I'm like somewhat focused, and I mean I drink a little bit, but not crack.
Here, let's
This
watch
guy's
it.
doing better than we are.
Here, this will give you an example of what this documentary is. Here, I actually just found the trailer. It is so good, folks. If you have an opportunity to find it, I think I watched it a couple of years ago again on Netflix. So here, check this out. Here we go. I'm gonna get a stupid net. No, here we go. Can you see it?
Yep, TV junkie.
All right, here we go.
Ready, go. Ready, go.
Everything is what you think about your family, your friends, your career. All you do is think about doing this shit.
Bill, I'm standing about 60 yards away now from the worst scene of the...
Good morning, Sandra, and good morning, Australia.
When you return, you notice that something is different.
I seem to be leading the way for a lot of the media here. They're not very aggressive.
Maybe I should hit you a few times. You can...
They have no...
Look at that. Did you see that?
Rick is a blast.
Adventure Man. This is Adventure Man. Boys of Syndicate. But the most exciting aspect of Adventure Quest is for better for worse.
For better for worse.
Oh, what a big baby.
Shit right there. Crack cocaine.
I'm getting tired of going out and telling people how everything is gloom and doom. Let's try to do something positive.
Now that we've got this smoke, we'll be turning them in and lighting up.
It's honey.
Get your hand away from things. Don't kick me, or I will turn you into the police.
Okay, Tammy, with the officers present here, are you leaving with one of my videotapes?
I would never molest my children.
This addiction's gonna kill me, and the terrible thing is you don't think about your family, your friends, your career.
All you do is think about doing this shit.
If I had a gun in my hand, I'd sit right here in this parking lot of Ricky's school and blow my brains out. Damn, I wish I had a gun right now.
Okay, so can you see?
Why is it Deep Ellum Pictures?
I don't know. I guess that's where he got the money from. Somebody in Dallas who, established Deep Ellum Pictures. Dude, seriously, I think you would really like that. Just find it on YouTube, TV Junkie. It is. I wouldn't send you down a bad path. It is some compelling, hardcore documentary shit. The story is amazing. And his life was, at the end of the documentary, there was no happy ending. His life was shit at the end of the documentary. He's living on the street. Oh boy. So then years later, he ends up, hooks up with Joe Exotic, and now he's got a whole new lease on life. Now he's got William Fichtner playing him in a movie or in a TV series.
Jesus.
We all live lives. Life is, it's about living. Okay, so here are the people that are playing the people. Now, I want to talk about some of the really interesting casting. Now, I mentioned this earlier today that I don't remember a lot of these characters from Tiger King. Do you remember them? They're all just a lot of dirtbags.
I won't remember names, but I'll remember faces. Like the girl that got her arm bit off. I don't know her name, but you show me her in the tub, I'll be like, yeah, I remember her.
I don't know what her name is either. But Kate McKinnon, the important roles are Kate McKinnon is playing Carol Baskin.
Carol Baskin.
Yeah. John Cameron Mitchell is playing Joe Exotic. And Dean Winters is playing the character I hated the most in this show was Jeff Lowe. Remember Jeff Lowe? We talked about Jeff Lowe earlier today. Jeff Lowe was the dude who came in with the money and bailed out Joe and ended up stealing the whole thing from him. He was like the 60-year-old guy who dressed like, as E pointed out, a dude from Dodgeball. He's like one of those guys that like was 60 but still wore his ball cap like this, and was all. He had the much younger girlfriend that they were very weirdly sexual in public. Whatever. He was just a very weird guy. You don't remember?
Okay, so Dean Winters is playing him, and Dean Winters is better known as Mayhem.
Yeah, Mayhem from the Allstate. Is it Allstate? You know who Mayhem is, right?
The guy that goes around with the Band-Aid on his face.
Yes.
In the car.
Yes.
Well, I think maybe in one campaign, but he represents all the bad things. He is the personification, the embodiment of all the bad things that you need to be insured for.
Right, but he's like always like injured in your car doing something crazy.
Yeah, exactly. But before that, I mean, come on, man. Dean Winters is from Oz. He played one of the stars of the HBO series Oz.
Damn, I never saw Oz.
Oh, Oz is good. Prison. Oh, made me sure that I don't ever want to go to prison. But he's done a lot of really cool stuff. Oh, he was 30 Rock. He was a regular in 30 Rock. Did you used to watch 30 Rock, Parker?
I did not, but I do see he was also in 2016's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows.
There you go. In 30 Rock, he was the guy that was dating Liz Lemon, Tina Fey, and he was the Beeper King. He still, even though it was like 2010, he was proud of the fact that he had the last remaining beeper store in all of the state of New York.
Oh, that's pretty funny.
Yeah, and he was
talk about an industry that just evaporated.
Yeah, beepers and ashtrays. Think about if you used to own like a company that pumped out ashtrays.
Yeah, but ashtrays were still around for like 300 years. Beepers were around for about 20 years.
Yeah.
I think the only technology that actually has a shorter lifespan than that might be the car phone.
Yeah. Well, the car phone morphed. So you would think if you were heavily invested in the car phone, you might have sort of just seamlessly
got into like a mobile phone.
Yeah,
because they were easily replaced by cell phones. As soon as they had that Fresh Prince of Bel-Air brick phone, car phones were on their way out. And so that was like a 15-year window where car phones were a thing.
So anyway, the Joe Exotic series is going to be a Peacock streaming series. I don't watch Peacock. Anybody watch Peacock? James, you watch Peacock?
You watch Peacock. You don't think you do, but you do.
What do you mean?
It's like all the NBC stuff.
Yeah, it's just NBC, but streaming.
I don't watch any of that stuff. And the reason I don't watch Peacock is because it's a streaming service that
you watch Sunday Night Football game?
Yeah, but I don't watch. I watch
that's
that
on Peacock.
Well, I watch it on NBC. I watch it on Channel 5 DFW. That's not Peacock. Peacock is the streaming service. There's a whole bunch of other things on their streaming service.
Still, essentially, it's the same program. It's on Peacock.
Well, it's the same company.
It's one of those conglomerate things where whoever owns NBC also owns like Paramount and other channels. So, like Yellowstone is on the Peacock channel, even though it's not an NBC show. It's a Paramount show.
Peacock has their own original programming. And the reason that I don't watch any of the original programming on Peacock, the streaming service, is because it has commercials. And there's no way for you to not get commercials on Peacock.
But it's free.
Yeah. It's free garbage. Network TV is garbage in general to me. I'm fine with Hulu, Prime, Netflix, HBO Max. I'm fine with those. I don't need Peacock. Although I will absolutely 100% watch this. And I will probably only watch this after our friend Ed makes it available on his streaming service, and the commercials are eliminated. So that's when I will get into watching it. But it doesn't say when it began. It says that filming began July 12th of 2021. So they're done. They're done with filming it. So now I guess it's just
that it just began.
What's that? Yeah, filming began in Brisbane, Australia on July 12th, 2021. So
which one are we talking about?
The Joe Exotic series, the TV series.
Yeah, they said it's going to air November the 17th, or the TV series, not the.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Peacock TV series. The documentary on Netflix, part 2
is on the 17th.
Yeah, part 2 of Tiger King airs on the 17th. This will probably, like they said, they started filming it in July of 2021, so they're done filming. They're in post-production, maybe early 2022. That's probably when we'll see it. Those shoots for these kinds of things usually are 6 to 8 weeks. So they've been done filming all of the stuff. Now they're just putting it together in a room. So I will definitely watch Peacock for this. Okay. Something else that we wanted to talk about here. E brought it up today on the High Noon show. And that's the Enes Kanter situation with the Boston Celtics. You want to take the lead on this? Tell me.
You can do it. You've been doing well. I brought it up.
Yeah, James, tell him when you're throwing the ball, it means that the other guy needs to stop talking
Oh.
because he wants a little help. So
Okay, well, I mean, you had read up on it, so I thought you
Yeah.
had it all down. I mean,
Well, you introduced it, so explain what the situation, who he is, what the conflict is that's going on here. What is the issue? Why is
well,
Enos
he
Cantor
entered in the NBA in like 2011. I think he was like a second round pick, and he's
No,
from
I think he was like the third overall pick
or
in the
number
first
2.
round.
Yeah, maybe the number 2 pick. Anyway, but a high draft pick from Turkey. And he currently plays for the Boston Celtics. He has a family that I think is being held currently in prison in Turkey because he spoke out against the Turkish government. So he's one of these players that's got some money, has got a voice, and he pays attention to causes where, people are being wronged. And he spoke out against the NBA and China and Nike with respect to how Nike gets their product and their shoes. And he came out 2 nights ago with the. You got a picture of him, Pugs?
Yeah, go ahead. Explain. He was wearing these shoes.
That
So
he had painted.
Yeah, I'll take it from here.
That's what I do in companies that make things like.
Is that you or me?
That was me. I was reading up on
somebody.
it.
Oh, okay. So last week, I want to say he made some post-game statements about China and what China is doing in the human rights realm. And so the pushback was that China banned all Boston Celtics games from the country. So, you can't, I guess the Celtics.
That'll fix it.
Yeah, well, that's
well, I mean, throwback to when they banned all the Houston Rockets games, which are still banned in China.
Oh, are they? Are they
Yeah.
still?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that. Yeah, that's going back like 3-4 years now at this point, right?
Yep.
All right. So Enos Cantor, his response to that, even though it can't be sitting well with his bosses, his response to that was to start playing basketball games wearing shoes, specific shoes. And here, let's get a look at them. There they are. There you see, look at these shoes. This dude has balls, man. This guy is going out there. I mean, can you read the shoes, or do I need to read them for you? Because I see that it's a little bit small. He's wearing Nike shoes, and he's got written all over it, made with slave labor, hypocrite Nike, and
drops of blood all over the shoes.
Yeah. And this is going to cause problems. I mean, Nike and the NBA are a kusum twosome. This is a high profile player on a high profile team taking very public swipes at a company that is nestled tightly in bed with the mother company, the NBA itself. And now, so we've already got issues with him stirring the pot in China, which we know the NBA wants to just dip their beak as deeply into the China, as James says,
3 billion feet.
It's 3 billion feet that could wear Nikes and play basketball. And I mean, this guy is just not backing down. Now,
well, he's pointing out the hypocrisy, how Nike is all spoken out about Black Lives Matter and how slavery in this country was so wrong. And they're, speaking out, in favor of all athletes that, are supporting those causes. But hypocritically enough, on the other side of the world, in China, they don't have anything to say about these slave labor and concentration camps and the way that humanity is just being beat to shit, by the Chinese government.
It works for them.
Yeah. So he has decided that this is his cause. And like I told Pugs today, I mean, he's made a Colin Kaepernick-esque move here, but not only has he made that move, he's taken on China, the NBA, and Nike.
Yeah, his Colin Kaepernick move has a dollar value to it. I mean, he is actively upsetting the apple cart.
Well, and it's beyond dollar value because his activism actually has real world consequences for his living family members who are suffering for his stance right now.
Well,
in
yes,
Turkey, they're in
I agree with
prison.
you. However, that was a bit reading up this afternoon about his family has disowned him. His family does not agree with his criticisms of Erdogan. He has apparently turned to a Islamic leader, whatever you want to call him. The guy's name is Fethullah Gulen.
Oh,
And
Fethullah Gulen, yeah, my favorite imam.
well, I don't even know that he's not that. This is a different branch of Islam. This is an
They
Islam.
handle snakes. Is it one of those?
No, they don't. No, they believe that people who are not Islamic are their friends, and that they need to coexist with one another peacefully in a world. I mean, this is for what we consider to be normal Islam. This is radical Islam. This is like good, happy Sesame Street version of Islam. And Cantor, through his dedication to this branch of Islam, has been incredibly critical of Erdogan and the rise of Muslim thugs in Turkey. And that has caused problems for his family, so much so that a couple of years ago, his own father publicly disowned his son, and he changed his name. Enes Kantner changed his name to Enes Gulen in the branch of Islam that he belongs to. Here, I'll just read you a little bit here. Cantor received primary and secondary education at Hizmet schools in Turkey. Hizmet is a school that teaches the branch of Islam that he has dedicated himself to, and reconnected with the movement's volunteers when Cantor arrived in the United States, even forming a personal relationship with the movement's founder, Fethullah Gulen. With regard to Gulen, Cantor has said his views on my religion as well as ways to solve today's problems were attractive to me. Gulen is promoting an Islam that highlights justice, respect, and love for those who aren't like us. He believes that being a Muslim comes with some kind of duty and that it is to help others. These are principles that I feel strongly about. So that is the core faith that is motivating Enes Cantor to upset the apple cart, not give a shit about his professional career any longer. Now he's been playing for 10 years now in the NBA. He's probably worth just under $100 million or so. But here's how this has really affected him. When his team, I think it was when he was with the Portland Trailblazers, when they traveled to play a game in London, he did not go. He didn't go because he cannot be guaranteed 100% that he won't be kidnapped off the streets in Europe. He also is so careful about this that when teams he was on would play in Canada, when they'd play up in Toronto, he never played in Toronto. He never traveled with the team because his ongoing political feud with Erdogan in Turkey has caused him to be so cautious that he never leaves the United States. Also, here's something. The FBI has given him like some kind of special Mission Impossible communications device that he is supposed to activate if he's ever anywhere and he feels like it's going down. You know what I mean? Like if he feels like they're coming for him or something, that he activates
That's
this
cool. And in the same breath, that's gotta suck.
Yeah, it's horrifying. Here, let me see if I can find it. Cantor said that he became publicly critical of President Recep Erdogan in 2013 due to the corruption scandal in Turkey. After the failed 2016 coup d'etat attempt, Kantner criticized Turkish President Erdogan on Twitter, calling him the Hitler of our century. Soon after the coup attempt in July, his father and his family publicly disowned him due to his political views and his support for Gulen, imploring him to change his surname. On August 8th, Kantner stated that he loves Gulen more than his family, sounds like a cult, informally changed his name to Enes Gulen. His father was like some super famous like medical doctor and university professor over there. Like his father.
That stinks though. Like I'm smelling some fish there. Like, okay, you're in Turkey, your kid's over here in the US playing ball.
Mhm.
He says something like that. Erdogan has probably got his henchmen and everybody up in your business.
Mhm.
And you're doing that to save public face for Erdogan. And, because other than that, your life is hell or you're dead.
His passport, he is a Turkish citizen. His passport has been revoked, which means
Right.
that he can't travel anywhere. So the United States has given him, it's not asylum, but he's James, you know anything about this? He's a permanent resident, and he's working towards his U.S. citizenship or something like that. I don't know if that's anything you're familiar with.
It's somewhere between like refugee status and resident alien. I don't remember what the legal term is, but we get it.
In May of 2017, while on tour hosting basketball camps in Hong Kong and Japan and other parts of Asia, Kantner was in Jakarta, Indonesia. At 2:30 a.m., Kantner's manager knocked on his door with alarming information. He was told that two men, identifying themselves as Indonesian government officials, had visited the camp and wanted to speak in order to find out if Kantner was sleeping at the camp, which he often did. Kantner, at this time, staying at a hotel with his manager, instead immediately left Indonesia, going to Singapore, then Bucharest, Romania, then Frankfurt, Germany. On May 20th, so 3 days later, when trying to fly into Romania, where another camp was planned to be held, Kantner was not allowed into the country and was told by officials there that his passport had been canceled by the Turkish government. Kantner was temporarily stranded in Romania, but eventually flew to London and then back to the United States. While stuck in Romania, Kantner took to Twitter to explain his situation, and the hashtag #FreeEnos went viral. Upon landing in the U.S., Kantner said the first thing he did was pray. This is a dude. We can just be like, "Oh, he's just another one of these stupid athletes." This dude has lived the life.
Lived it. He currently is living it.
Yeah. In January of 2019, he decided against traveling to London with the Knicks, fearing that his life could be in danger if he traveled to Europe. Kantner also has never traveled to Toronto. In March of 2019, blah, blah, blah. Okay. According to a 2019 ESPN story, FBI agents have issued him a communications device that allows him to contact the organization at a moment's notice due to a credible threat against his life. Turkey, every year for the past 5 years, has petitioned the United States government to extradite him back to Turkey, where they will put him on trial and then kill him. And the United States government, God bless them, are saying, yeah, no, that's not going to happen.
You don't know. They're going to put him on trial. I'm sure he'll get a very fair hearing.
Just think about this, though. Like, he is living as if he were in the witness protection program. But instead, there is a schedule of where he is going to be nightly. To talk about a set of balls. Like, this dude has got some cojones.
In 2019, Kantner was the subject of an ESPN E60 documentary entitled Enemy of the State. Kantner condemned the 2019 Turkish offensive into northeastern Syria against U.S. allied Kurds. On October 21st, so this is when it started, this is the most recent story. On October 21st, 2021, Enes Kantner condemned Chinese leader Xi Jinping as a brutal dictator and expressed his support for the Free Tibet movement on Twitter. The Chinese government subsequently stopped streaming Boston Celtic games. And then just last night, he took to the court wearing these shoes. So it's not just about China or Erdogan. It's also about Nike. He's taking shots at Nike now. Personal life. Kantner is a practicing. This is where it gets interesting. Listen to this. Kantner is a practicing Muslim. In 2019, he wrote in the Washington Post about the challenge of observing Ramadan during the NBA playoffs, which includes long periods of fasting while still playing NBA basketball games. Kantner has said that during college, he learned English by watching SpongeBob and Jersey Shore.
Good start.
Kantner dated professional. Oh, he's also a part-time. He's obsessed with professional wrestling, and he appears at WWE, and he dated for a period of time professional wrestler Dana Brooke, who I do not know, but he is currently engaged in a long-form romance with fashion designer and equestrian. Do you think she has money? She's anybody who's an equestrian, right? Mm-hmm. Well, she does have money because her name is Ariana Rockefeller. he is dating the heir to the Rockefeller fortune. So wearing these Nike shoes, he might be thinking he's got the lifelong
He's got his
money.
own jack, though.
Oh,
You've been
yes.
in the NBA for 10 years. You've got
Right.
money.
But he don't have Rockefeller heir.
He doesn't have Rockefeller money, but he's definitely got money. He's got money. He doesn't have to worry.
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't know anything about this story. I mean, I know who Enes Kanter is. Obviously, if you watch basketball, you know he is a pretty good player. He's been around for a lot of years, as he said. I think 2010, 2011. He's been in the league at least a decade. He's at the tail end of his career. But I'm telling you, this is the kind of guy that's going to end up being president of Turkey in 10 years, when they have their big revolution. And, hey, Václav Havel was like a middling poet who turned Romania from a Soviet bloc nation into it's a piece of garbage now, but for a couple of years. Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? I mean, I could totally see Enes Kanter with the Rockefeller money behind him becoming the president of Turkey and leading this country. I mean, the dude has put his money where his mouth is. That's for sure.
He's called out LeBron and
Yeah.
who was the other guy?
Durant.
Yeah, I think it was LeBron and Durant, and he said, "Hey, just go over to China and ask to take a tour of these camps and these facilities, where essentially, if you are Tibetan, you're forced to go to work at this plant that makes Nike shoes."
Listen to something else crazy about his early life. So at 16 years old, this dude started playing professional basketball in Greece. He played for a team in Greece, and then he played for a team in Turkey. And at 17 years old, the professional team that he was playing with is like, holy shit, you're 16 and you're the best player in Europe right now. We're going to sign you to a big deal. And you know what he said?
No.
He said, no, I'm going to move to the United States and I'm going to go play high school basketball. He turned down a big career in Europe to go play high school basketball. But then as soon as he got to America, they determined that he had played professional basketball for a year starting at 6, and he was ruled ineligible by every high school basketball team. He had an agent who sets all this up. That's why these players from like Eastern Bloc countries end up at like Louisville. They have an agent. They have an agent who says, "Now you want to come to America and get in the NBA draft? Here, come on, we'll get you over to one of these schools." So then he tried to play for Kentucky, University of Kentucky. They were like going to get him. They were like, "Oh, he signed a letter of intent to Kentucky and all that." But then once again, he wasn't allowed to play because he had received like $1 million for playing in Europe. And they're like, "Yeah, nah, we can't." Funny thing is he could do that now with the new NCAA rules.
No, I don't think that's the same thing because that's not a name, image, likeness contract, and that's what was allowed.
Oh yeah, you might be right. Yeah, there are specifics there. Yeah, so it's still, but so he never instead of signing the deal with Turkey, instead of playing high school basketball, instead of going to the University of Kentucky for the one and done bit that all the players do now, he just entered the NBA draft and was taken number 2.
Sean Kemp style.
Yeah. I mean, this guy has lived a freaking life. Professional. Here it is. Kanter was drafted 3rd overall by the Utah Jazz in the 2011 NBA draft. So there you go. Let's see. Now, don't you want to know who was taken 1 in the 2000 just to see if they're still playing? They're still around.
Oh, I love this game. Yeah.
Oh, pretty good. Okay, pretty good.
You said he was 3rd. Right?
Kyrie Irving was number 1 in that draft.
Okay, fair enough.
He's still playing. Kyrie Irving, Derek Williams, Enes Kanter, and the guy taken after Enes Kanter was Tristan Thompson. So Irving, Kanter, and Thompson are still playing. I gotta say, I think taking him number 2. Yeah, Derek Williams went number 2. I don't really know who he is. And then I clicked on his picture, and it's a photo of him in a basketball uniform, but it's one of them Euro basketball uniforms. So he's a bust. He never made it. He wasn't worth a number 2.
Damn.
Yeah. We're taken by the Minnesota Timberwolves, number 2 overall.
So it's going to be interesting now to see how the NBA responds to this, right? And how players with Nike shoe contracts respond to this.
Well, or is it just going to be one of those deals where, Nike and the NBA will get together quietly behind closed doors and go, Let's just pretend this didn't happen. Let's just ignore it
But
instead of turning it into a much bigger thing.
How can you pretend that it didn't happen while Boston Celtics games are still off the air in China? And China's got to be paying, or somebody's paying the NBA.
Well, okay. Time out. Which issue are you concerned? The issue I'm discussing is the wearing of the shoes slamming Nike and the Nike's business relationship with the NBA. You're right. The Chinese situation is another issue that he started last week. I'm saying that how does Nike and NBA, who don't want to deal with this because they like their cushy relationship, they like what they got going on. I think that their play behind closed doors would be just ignore it. But yeah, the China thing is a problem.
But I don't know that they see, with all the flexibility that's been given now to the players, like in the NFL, what they're wearing on the back of their helmets.
Yeah.
In the NBA, what they're wearing on the back of the jersey. I mean, they're allowed to have now some type of free speech or protest-esque type wear.
Mm-hmm.
And how do you pull that rabbit back out of the hat? Like, I think you've already lifted the curtain. The cow's out of the barn. Are you going to stop him from wearing his Stop Child Slavery?
See, but if you stop him from wearing that,
immediately will be all over it.
Let me play crisis management advisor, okay? By getting involved, by doing anything about it, you make it 10 times worse. You make it 10 times more powerful.
You draw attention to it, yeah.
Absolutely. So the best thing to do, I would advise, would be just ignore it. Let's deal with it. We'll get back together if he does something again. But if this is going to be his thing where he's wearing shoes that say this, just ignore it. We don't want this becoming some sort of, they don't want the story. The NBA certainly doesn't want the world to know. And because of the whole, how they've been about Black Lives Matter and, we're such a progressive league and all this kind of shit, they don't want to have the conversation about their dirty dealings with a nation that is a routine violator of human rights. I mean, China is not a good company for somebody who believes all, Black Lives Matter and, is very progressive. Not a good country to be aligned with. And they are aligned with them directly and indirectly through Nike.
This just so pisses me off about Nike, though, because Nike is everywhere.
Yeah.
They're like in the NFL, they're in the NBA, they're in the MLB, they're in every professional sport, every sport that we can think of. Nike is there. And for you to kowtow to China, for what? You don't have to.
Yeah, we had this little conversation earlier, and this is where I stand on the NBA's Nike China dilemma, okay? Nike needs the NBA far more than the NBA needs Nike. Now, the NBA loves the money, the sponsorship money and all of that stuff, but Nike is so heavily invested in their brand being directly associated with NBA superstars that if the NBA said, yeah, you can't wear Nike shoes anymore, we're done with our association with Nike, they just move on to Adidas. Or they just move on to Puma. They just some other company would take Nike's place like that. And where would Nike go if they were excluded from the NBA space?
But that's where I'm going with, okay, so all these players and majority of the players in the NBA are Black.
What?
That are saying Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Slavery mattered.
Let's just say justice, who are justice warriors. They're fighting
justice warriors
and humanitarian.
How can you step out on the court tomorrow?
Exactly. You're a hypocrite.
Without acknowledging the wrongs that are going on in China and accepting money from China for essentially your product that is being sold, whether you're Dame or whoever the hell you are.
You're in business.
I think Dame actually has a contract with Adidas.
You are the NBA's in business with the primary violator of everything that you say you stand against. And yet the checks keep coming in and you're happy with it. That is
not only the NBA, each player has got to deal with Nike.
Right. But if the NBA banned Nike, those players would be out of their deals. And guess what? Adidas would step to the table. Under Armour would start making basketball shoes. I mean, this is not. It's not going to hurt the NBA if they can't wear Nikes anymore.
Well, and it's completely one-sided because of that, because the NBA has options for other shoe companies, but shoe companies don't have another NBA they can go to if they don't like the deal they're getting.
Mm-hmm.
So
WNBA, that ain't gonna work. They're even more militant over there.
Whatever trash league he was playing in Europe, you think they're going to sell as many sneakers as Kyrie Irving?
Yeah, it's not the same thing. They'd have to totally go hard into another sport, and I don't know of any other sport. There isn't another sport that features shoes that you and I could wear at the mall. All the other sports use spikes,
Yeah.
and that's the crossover that they find attractive about the NBA.
Not to mention hockey.
These shoes can be sold to you and me and we can just walk around in our everyday life in the expensive NBA shoes. They can't do that with baseball. Baseball players wear spikes. They might wear Nike spikes, but there's not going to be a crossover to the general public. The consumer, the average consumer is not going to go to the mall wearing baseball spikes, cleats.
But couldn't it also start with us as consumers? I mean, you've got a U.S. based company I think they're in Oregon, right?
Yeah.
Or Nike's in Oregon. Why don't we as consumers just stop wearing Nike? It's hard. It would be hard this year not to buy a Nike jersey, not to buy a set of Nike shoes that essentially your team or your player is wearing. Yeah. But if we did it for 1 year, that would correct behavior.
Would it?
I think it would. The stock would drop.
Yeah, but okay. So how are you going to convince everybody to do it without banning them? And you can't ban them because
it's as many people as we found for Black Lives Matter. This is essentially, the same cause in a different country.
How's that movement going?
Well, but I think it refuels it. It refuels it, and it gives it a different facet for those people that don't like it here. Well, you can't tell me that you're down for having people from Tibet being put in slave labor camps.
The United States of America can take a stand through foreign policy and humanitarian whatever you want to do, where it can become, I don't want to say illegal, but extremely difficult to use slave labor in places like Canada. They can do that. They can put a restrictive tax on it so that Nike shoes that cost $100 now are going to cost $300 now if the companies continue to use slave labor. And that's the deal, though. There's a wider profit margin when you're making your shoes with people who make a nickel a month. I mean,
they basically have to do that in order to stay out of prison.
Yeah, but what do you think about the pragmatic approach that is these citizens of the Chinese Communist Party would be exploited otherwise? Might as well get some sweet high tops out of it.
Well, because what we're doing is we're helping the exploitation by getting the sweet high tops.
No, the argument's exactly the opposite. They would cease to be exploited if we didn't buy Nike.
No, they wouldn't.
Or they would just be exploited in some other fashion to the whims of the Chinese Communist Party, by which they can make the biggest amount of money for themselves.
No, I see the clear-cut answer is that we just not be involved at all with that type of exploitation. They're not making shoes for the United States consumer public. It goes against what the United States believes as far as their humanitarian policies go, or foreign policy, however you want to call it. But because we allow it, because we allow the importing of materials and goods made in slave camps, hey, there's always going to be an American company that's going to take advantage of that low overhead. That's low overhead. You imagine when Nike's going to start building shoes in Detroit? You're going to have to pay union wages. Shoes are going to cost $500 a pair. I mean, it's in their best interest to keep this product at the price point it's at by using slave labor. The government is the only person who can say that, okay, if that's what you're doing, we're going to levy a brand new tariff. And it's not going to be worth your while anymore. It's now going to cost you 10 times as much to bring those shoes made by slaves back into this country to sell to the American people. It's the only way it can be done. The NBA can't do. I mean,
we're talking about a sneaker culture,
right? That is big.
that is huge.
Yeah.
That's dominated by this brand.
Yeah. Although I'm an Adidas Puma guy, gotta be honest. You look in my closet, I probably got 4 pairs of Adidas, 4 pairs of Puma, and just 1 pair of Nikes.
Yeah, and I don't have a pair of Nikes. I've got Nike jerseys because I don't have a choice.
Yeah, but okay, but that's different.
But I've actively boycotted Nike shoes ever since the Houston Rockets.
What kind of shoes do you wear? Don't you wear Asics?
I got Adidas and I got Asics.
Yeah, I thought I saw you in a sweet pair of Asics. They were good looking shoes. No, he's got good shoes. I'm a shoe bitch. You look at my closet. I got a lot of shoes, and I compliment you on your shoes?
Yeah,
I
you
always
do.
I like your shoes.
But I mean, I specifically stopped wearing Nikes back when the Rockets thing occurred, and I thought for sure that it was going to have a longer
Rockets thing. I'm sorry. What is the Rockets thing?
Houston Rockets. Daryl Morey, the general manager, took a stand for the people of Hong Kong about 3 or 4 years ago. Was it a tweet? Right?
Yeah, it was a tweet that he made, and then
supporting the protests in Hong Kong,
and immediately Chinese took any Rocket games off of the NBA TV in China, and stopped and removed any Houston Rockets logo, any Houston Rockets like jerseys, anything like that was no longer able to be sold in China. And then the NBA had him come out and apologize. And then he was, I think, subsequently the next year fired.
Yeah, he lost his job. Yeah. But here we are a couple of years later, and trust me, everything has worked out fine for Daryl Morey. His life is there are no headaches. He is the general manager of the Philadelphia 76ers dealing with Ben Simmons right now. So, what's worse, having China angry at you or dealing with a livid Joel Embiid because you can't get Ben Simmons under control? So at any rate, his career wasn't ended. He was forced out of Houston and then fell right into a good situation with the 76ers in the same role. But, James, you're absolutely right. I don't know if you were trying to be a stickler on this or whatever, but this is a different, I almost said feckless, and I want to say that because that's insulting. But it certainly seems to be a protest with more instantaneous real-world consequences than what Colin Kaepernick did. And I support what Colin Kaepernick did. I think he should have the right to do that. And I think it's kind of shitty, and I believe that there is a blackballing of Colin Kaepernick. But what this dude, Enos Kanter, is doing is like in the face, happening right now, and it's not just about some...
we need to see if he does have a shoe deal with Nike.
Who, Enos?
Yeah, because if he has a shoe deal with Nike and he's decorating those Nikes that way, I mean, that is awesome that they're having to pay him to wear shoes.
Have a shoe deal
that he's sticking up Nike's Kahulu.
That doesn't say if he has a shoe deal. Enes Kanter, okay. Oh, there's baller shoes. Okay, baller shoes and all the NBA players in the shoes they wear. So let's see what shoes he wears officially, because they all have to have. The team either has a shoe, like if you're a scrub player.
Enes Kanter had a Nike deal, but lost the Nike deal because of these problems.
Oh, really?
This is opencourtbasketball.com. So I don't know if that's
must be recently.
Okay. Well, it could have been. Oh, yeah, he did. Let's see. Last year, September 25th, 2020, he took to the court in a pair of Nikes with in black Sharpie marker written "Free political prisoners everywhere." So this dude has been using his platform to stir the pot. I gotta give him credit for it.
Look, so it just looks like this guy's trying to make a political statement, like, yeah, China sucks and camps suck, and free the Uyghurs or whatever on his shoes. But what we really have here is we just don't want to accept how grave this is, because it's coming from a basketball player, and we really don't want to deal with this. But I remember there was a loud outcry that I heard about for the world over, that after the Holocaust, that we will never let this happen again. But if we have China with concentration camps with Uyghur Muslims in it right now, are we really just letting this happen again?
Yes.
Absolutely. We will.
Okay, so what are we going to do? Are we
completely
going to start World War III and go free
Nope.
the Uyghurs?
No, we're not going to do anything.
Stop wearing Nike.
We're not going to do it. Well, first of all, the Uyghurs don't look like us. That's they are not Caucasian, Euro, Anglo people. The Jews, they look like us, and there was a huge, massive Jewish population in this country.
Yeah, we didn't get in World War II to go free the Jews.
Isn't this on the NBA too? Like, shouldn't the NBA pull their product? Like, how do you allow a country pick and choose the parts of your product that they're going to advertise? Like, okay, China's decided Boston Celtics games are out. Houston Rocket games are out. If I'm the NBA and I've got, 32 teams? How many teams in the NBA? Is 32?
Something like that, like 30.
30, something like that. And you're actively not going to broadcast two of my teams and then their opponents in your markets. Why am I letting you create a bastardized form of my product in your country? Like, how are you that big that I'm going to kowtow to you?
Because what are you going to do? Make $0 or just make 90% of the money you would
Do they need the Chinese dollars?
Of course, they don't need the Chinese dollars, but billions and billions will always be missed.
We don't have much time left here. So you just mentioned something, James, about World War II and how we didn't get into World War II to help the Jews. And he's absolutely right. Yeah, we like to tell each other 60, 70 years removed from that. We like to pat ourselves on the back and pretend like that was all humanitarian. But James, are you familiar with it's historically it's known as the Voyage of the Damned, but it's more commonly known as the USS St. Louis?
No, that's not ringing a bell.
The USS St. Louis. This is not something that we are taught in school. This is a true piece of American history. In 1939, the USS St. Louis was packed with Jewish German refugees who were fleeing Hitler's oppression, and Franklin Delano Roosevelt refused to allow the boat to dock in New York City. He sent them back to Germany, where they were all killed in concentration camps. That is the truth of what America was before World War II. We didn't get into World War II because we got to go save them Jews, no matter how many John Wayne movies from the 50s try and tell us different. We didn't know
it was. To be fair, we didn't know the Holocaust was happening on the scale that it was.
The St. Louis vessel set sail from Hamburg to Cuba between May 13th, 1939, under the command of Captain Gustav Schroeder, carrying 937 passengers, most of them Jewish German refugees seeking asylum from Nazi persecution. Then where does it go into that? Anyway, you can read all about it. It's a disgusting, true thing that the United States did that no child will ever read about in a book, because we only put the good stuff. we only put the Tulsa riots were trending the other day. There ain't a person in America that learned about the Tulsa race riots in school. Yeah, we had the what's that?
You have a song request over in the.
Oh, well, I think, you know what? That's a boy who knows how we end each and every show, and I appreciate that. Yeah, so I'm not going to get on my high horse, but you get what I'm saying. History is what we learn. History is real. Someone will have written about it. I mean, that is why if you are really into history, you would have found on your own the story of the Voyage of the Damned and the USS St. Louis. But you would have never learned that in school. Hell no. You never would have learned about what went down in Tulsa during the Tulsa race riots back in 1920 or something like that. No. We don't tell that story. I never learned about the Trail of Tears. I never learned about so it's interesting that you said that about how we did not get into Germany, because you checked me. I was going off on this holier than thou. We're America. We are always doing the good thing. No, as a matter of fact, if you want to check through history, we've never really done the good thing. We've done the thing that was in our best interest, and almost always it's monetary interests, not. So no, we won't do anything about the Uyghurs.
Well, you don't have to go that hard in the paint over there. I mean, how do you explain the Korean War? There's about 42 million South Koreans that would disagree with you that we did the right thing in that intervention and there's a net positive. But yeah,
I'd love
there's
to
a
get
lot of
into
messed up
about
stuff.
the socio-political things that went down before we entered into the Korean War, but we're out of time, James.
Well, we got Hinckley playing too, so let's
We
just
do.
bathe in the glory.
All right, E, I'm gonna miss you tomorrow. James, you want to do the show tomorrow? I don't have E.
Tomorrow during noon?
Yeah.
I think so.
You think so? All right, we'll check
so.
it out. If not, not a big deal. That's it. All right, have fun tomorrow, E. He's doing fun dad stuff.
Yeah, I'll be in a Dalmatian costume.
All right, bye everybody. Wave, and let's listen to the dulcet tones of John Hinckley. I was down and out, without a doubt, the only home I've known.